During Christmas, within a dystopian consumerist alternate 20th century where terrorist attacks have become the norm, Sam Lowry, comfortable within his dead-end, directionless government job, faces personal pressures from his mother to accept a promotion for a higher position, often dreaming of being a saviour to a beautiful damsel in distress. On a subconscious level, Sam seeks some form of change or excitement. When he finally encounters Jill, a woman with a striking resemblance to the woman of his dreams, a naive and lovelorn Sam is intent on finding out as much about her as possible. This is Terry Gilliam's cult dystopic, neo-noir tinged science fiction satire Brazil, the title a reference to the melody prominent throughout the film, originating from Aquarela do Brasil, written by Ari Barroso. A Kafkaesque nightmarish yet comedic criticism of the uncooperative nature of bureaucracy, the intensity of surveillance, and the fascistic mistreatment of people who don't fit within such a brutal system. Brazil is often simultaneously funny but frightening, showcasing an effective penchant for dreamy allegory reflective of Sam Lowry's subconscious desires and the sources of his anxiety, all before the film's narrative gradually unravels into disturbing unreliability that is bound to chill most viewers to the bone. Sam Lowry is a character who comes from an affluent background. His father was successful in life and his mother hoards immense riches, which she spends on numerous cosmetic treatments in her pursuit of an eternal youth. It's undeniable that Sam Lowry comes from great financial privilege, which is made clearer in the fact that his mother can pull the right strings to get her son a promotion, and that Sam Lowry is financially comfortable enough to be able to initially turn it down. Within this financial privilege, it's in Sam's cluelessness to the issues that those less fortunate than himself face, which reinforces the depiction of class division present in Brazil. Let's take note of the scene in which Sam has dinner with his mother and Shirley, the young woman that is the figure of an unsuccessful matchmaking attempt. As a bomb explodes in the restaurant, Sam and his mother, Shirley and her mother, continue their dining experience as if nothing has happened. They're too rich to care about an event that is unfolding literally behind their backs. They can afford to be clueless and apathetic to what is going on around them. This class division is also crystal clear during a scene in which Sam must return a compensation check to Mrs. Buttle, the wife and likely now the widow, of a man who was wrongfully arrested due to a printing error on the arrest warrant. Within this visit, Sam is only just discovering the extent of destruction that his government enforces during intense arrests, as well as the traumatic consequences this event has on the families of the accused. The Buttle family's Christmas is now non-existent. Their home is destroyed, their father and husband dead, and Sam Lowry walks in naively assuming this could be a simple check delivery job. It's within Sam Lowry's ignorance and privilege, his initial lack of understanding of the struggle of others, that strongly demonstrates the very real societal issue of class division. Nonetheless, Sam, for all his flaws, can recognise this disparity when he becomes the target of it. The strict policing within Brazil, both within the stringent following of regulations, as well as the very literal militant police authority, is intentionally fascistic, hyper-exaggerated to demonstrate the ire, inequality and injustice that is doled out towards those not fitting within the bureaucratic societal system that benefits from the chastisement of the poor. It's not much surprise that Gilliam's film is staunchly anti-cop. Within this film, challenging authoritarian forces on wrongful arrests, civilian harassment, police brutality, and prejudice towards the poor can lead to death. Sam becomes a victim of this himself when he's arrested in his efforts to protect Jill, who is hassled over her efforts to help others when an explosion goes off in a crowded shopping centre. We see Sam forcefully mistreated within this moment that is only really resolved due to the connections he has within higher places. It's in the characters who work outside of the fascistic bureaucracy who become the heroes of Brazil. For example, Tuttle is a man wanted for arrest by the government, and their attempts lead to the wrongful arrest of Buttle. Tuttle is wanted because he's an illegal freelancing engineer who resolves heating issues in apartments without governmental approval, skipping over all the paperwork just to get the job done. Tuttle is vague about what else he does, but the film invites speculation as to whether he is or isn't connected to the explosions around the city, something which is elaborated on during the film's climax, but we're gonna get to that later. It's up to the viewer to wonder about who Tuttle truly is, but due to the excessively brutal force of the police state within Brazil, Tuttle may simply be an engineer who's pissed off at the government. Tuttle is portrayed as heroic because he represents an alternative to fascism. He's like a small-scale freedom fighter, fixing air conditioning under the radar exactly the moment citizens need it, aiding the innocent and downtrodden, as if like a dystopian equivalent of Robin Hood. Whether he's actually contributing to any other illegal matters is almost irrelevant, but Tuttle represents a pushback towards authoritarian cruelty, an unsung hero reminiscent of the people who fight back against dictatorship. As a contrast to the oppressive atmosphere of the city, Sam finds brief escapism in his dreams which reveals the truth of his subconscious desires. Sam is often shown wearing armour, flying in the sky, embracing the freedom that comes from that. Following the calls of a woman he loves, his desire for liberation from his routine life disrupted by the restrictive pressures placed on him by his mother, his work, his guilt over Mrs. Buttle, forcing him to the ground, bringing him back to Earth to confront these exact pressures. Within these dream sequences, we see Sam's comfort within complacency challenged by his wider aspirations, to lead a new life with the woman of his dreams. These dreams are a fantasy reflective of his real-world concerns, amplifying just how vulnerable Sam Lowry is. He's a hero in his dreams, embracing his power fantasy, but in reality he can be destructive, naive, neurotic, and gradually a victim to the system he once worked within. In a way, he's like Franz Kafka's classic protagonist Joseph K. from The Trial, fumbling his way through what eventually leads to Sam Lowry's ultimate fate, the full force of judgmental punishment for his own actions, all because he wanted to escape. This is where Brazil's narrative unreliability comes into play. After Sam deletes Jill from the government database, legally acknowledging her as dead, Sam is arrested and Jill is killed by forceful officers who break in, taking Sam towards his punishment for numerous offences, damages of property, wasting government resources, forgery. Even for Sam's perceived criminality by the government, his punishment is certainly overkill. Awaiting torture from his supposed friend Jack, Tuttle comes to save the day with a crew of freedom fighters as they bust their way out of the building, blowing up the headquarters. However, Sam's reliance on dreamy escapism is disrupted when things fall apart. This dream becomes a nightmare. Tuttle disappears in a pile of papers, no longer able to save Sam. Sam's mother, now having attained eternal youth, rejects him in favour of younger men, and Sam continues to be haunted by soldiers who will definitely kill him on sight. All of this is ultimately resolved by the superficial satisfaction of a happily ever after. Sam finds Jill, they live in a house together in the mountains, never to be disturbed again. Except that isn't true. Sam's lost the plot, and we're forced to acknowledge he never left the restraints of the torture hall. Tuttle likely was never a freedom fighter, in the way Sam expected, and this sequence calls into question how much of what we know about Sam is even based within reality, a man reliant on the escapism into his own mind. Did Jill ever exist? Did Sam's experiences ever happen, or did they unfold differently to how Sam perceived them? The ending of Brazil completely dismantles the expectation of a traditional happily ever after, reflecting on that. Within a malevolent, strictly fascistic society, there's never a happily ever after to be had. In conclusion, Terry Gilliam's Brazil is a monumental achievement in satiric storytelling, its visual ambition never sacrificing the necessity for thoughtfully amusing commentary criticising fascism and strict rule-making, nor the attention to detail within characterisation. The anxieties, stresses, despondency, righteousness and remorse is all present here, while a complex film that can be overwhelming on an initial viewing. Brazil's interconnectivity is even more rewarding on subsequent watches. Brazil is a film which illustrates a heightened self-awareness with a darkly comic sense of humour, examining the innate inhumanity of fascism and the consequences it has on the people living under it. A special thank you to my incredible tier Patreon supporter Gil, and my super tier Patreon supporters Constantine Bombelli and Jamie.